Hey everybody, good afternoon. I hope you're all enjoying your time at Pause Fest this afternoon. My name's Chris Wood. I lead the Experience Design team for the Digital First program at Telstra.
And my name is Bronwyn van der Merwe, and I head up Fjord in Australia. So Fjord is a design and innovation company, and we work with our clients, and we specialise in designing services. So we're a service design agency. So we probably all have stories of falling through the cracks in a service. This morning I had breakfast with my team and I polled them on their worst service experiences, and we had some doozies. So one of my team members, he told a story about how his bank had been charging him thousands of dollars in interest that he shouldn't have been paying, even though he'd been to the bank and had a health check on his mortgage for 3 years running. And it turns out that they had said he had an offset account, where all the time there was no offset account. A terrible experience, and he's now written to the CEO of that bank. We had another story of someone trying to get a credit card and doing the whole process online, and doing all the ID and being successful in the application, but then getting the credit card in the mail and having to go into the store, into the retail branch, to actually show his ID to activate that account, the ID that he'd already done on the retail, on the online channel. And then we had a story about one of the guys trying to print something and going in, queuing for ages at a print store, and then getting to the front and the guy saying, "Oh, sorry, we can't find your order." And it's like, "Oh, surely there's a digital tracking system." It's like, "Oh no, it's all just written down on paper." And so they had to try and find this piece of paper, and then they had to find that employee, call him up at home and find out where the printing was. And then it turns out they'd lost the printing completely. So we've all got these stories of service experience dealing with service providers where they're pretty crappy. But on the flip side, we've also probably all got great experiences where it just works, where it's seamless, it's effortless, you go to do a task, you can do the task, you have all the information you need, you may even be recognized, they may even be able to anticipate your needs. So as a service design company, these are the kind of things that we are trying to do.
And increasingly, as consumers, it's those types of experiences that we're talking about. It's those types of experiences that also raise the expectation bar that we have as consumers, and we hold that expectation to more traditional service organisations as well.
Because nobody wants to feel like this. None of my team wanted to feel like this, but they all did. So today we're going to talk to you about how you can avoid this. So we're going to cover 3 things. The first thing that we're going to cover is some of the trends that we see with the clients that we work with on a day-to-day basis that are affecting service design. The second thing that we're going to do is explain just how you go about designing for a service. A service is an intangible thing. It's made up of a customer journey through multiple touch points across different channels, whether that's a retail environment, a call center, a digital channel, or something out in the field. So how can you really pay attention to detail of all of those different service interactions that make up a brand experience? What is the process that you take to reimagine a service?
And then we'll look at how both of those things come together with an example of a project that we've both been working on inside of Telstra.
So the first of the 3 trends that I want to talk to you about today is called liquid expectations. So we're seeing the digitization of everything, but what we're also seeing is that our expectations of services are rising dramatically. There's this rising tide of expectations, and these expectations are set by incredible experiences that we have with service providers that are disrupting existing incumbent businesses. So whether that's catching an Uber and stepping out and making a payment in the cloud, or whether that's, like this, when I flew down here, Qantas sent me a link on my mobile phone. So check-in came to me, and all I had to do was click on that link and I could just walk straight through the airport. These kind of best-of-breed service experience are setting the expectations for customers, and their expectations are liquid across industry barriers. So it's no longer enough to look at what other competitors are doing in your particular industry and try and match or improve that. You have to look across all industries at the customer experience expectations that are being set by the very best. The second trend that we see a lot in service design is called mind the gap. So A service is made up of customer journeys as they traverse across digital and physical. And we are seeing a rise of work which we call phygital, which is how can you marry physical and digital into a great customer experience? And how can you help people as they traverse these different channels so that they don't fall through the cracks? So that when somebody, for example, goes online, tries to complete a task, can't do it, and picks up the phone and calls a call centre, they don't have to start all over again, explain who they are and start from the beginning. The call centre picks up, they know who you are, they know what you've been doing, and they can just pick that up and carry you forward. So how do we design for experiences that are resilient across channels? We work with our clients a lot in this particular space. And then the third trend that we're seeing is the emergence of experience design for employees. So every single service that you experience is co-produced in real time by staff and a customer, by real-time people and real-time staff. So you can't create a particular service experience. You can only create the right environment for that, the right affordances, the right culture, because the employee experience and a customer experience are two sides of the same coin. So if you can create a really fantastic employee experience where you take away the forms and the frictions, you take away the impediments that stop them from being able to deliver a great experience, you get rid of the clunky systems that take time where they have to go digging for information, and you make it really simple, you're going to deliver a much better customer experience by nature of that.
So that's a nice segue into the environment at Telstra. So let's look at Telstra as a service organisation. We have a number of channels that we service our customers with on a daily basis today. We've got our retail stores, our contact centres, our field service technicians, and also our digital channel. Now, importantly, we think about this as a service ecosystem that we've got, and one of the key things that we're looking for there is where can digital capability actually enhance or to streamline an experience, both for our customers but also for our staff members as well. So one of the examples, for example, is Bluetooth beacons that we're deploying in some of our retail stores, which is a great way to provide a cross-channel experience for a digital customer coming into a retail shop. But importantly, where we're looking for that digital capability, we want that to enhance what is essentially a human conversation. So let's spend a little bit of time and dive into the context of our stores in a bit more detail. So today we have 380 Telstra branded stores across the country, servicing our rural, our regional and our urban customers. We do about 120,000 visits a day through that entire network, which is a huge volume of customer interactions. Equally, the complexity and the range of complexity in those interactions varies quite a lot. So it can range from a quite simple inquiry, such as paying a bill or recharging a prepaid phone, right through to quite a complex technology conversation as well, such as how do I get streaming TV or music working in my home. And importantly, as Bron mentioned, our customers expect an end-to-end service. They want to be able to come into that conversation and be recognised. They don't want to have to repeat that story, and also importantly, they want to get their inquiry resolved then and there. And that led us to the brief for the project that we've been working on, which was to reimagine that service experience for Telstra across those channels.
So how do you go about redesigning a service experience? Well, service design is unique in that it's not about designing a particular touch point, a website or a mobile application where you're trying to do a specific thing. It's about designing an ecosystem. So when we do that, we look at the current state and we go out and we do ethnographic research to really understand what's going on from a very human perspective. So we have these things called the 5 Ps, and we start by looking at all the people in their ecosystem. So who are the people that are using this service? The customers, but also who are the staff that are delivering this? Are there third-party suppliers and providers who also need to be considered? What's their context of use? What are their fears, their hopes? What are they trying to achieve? What are their rational behaviours that are driving them to make certain decisions? We also go out and we spend a lot of time understanding the products. And this might be a physical product, it might be a digital product, it might be a product that a customer uses, and it might be a product that tracks sort of back office systems. But we really have a look at all of those systems and how they cohesively make up that service experience. We go out into the places where the service is experienced, whether that's a hospital, an airport, in the field, in people's homes, or in a call centre in the Philippines. Wherever it is, we go out and we experience that, and we look at that, at how that affects the people in that place. We look at the process, the processes that everybody uses, and then we also look at the performance of the whole thing. From the point of view of business metrics, like efficiency and how much time is things taken and how much is this costing per interaction, but also from a customer experience, things like NPS and customer effort, and how can we help to improve that. So we use the design thinking process. You're probably all quite familiar with this double diamond, where we go out in this discover and research phase to understand those 5 Ps. And we do that research, and then we start to converge on themes from that research, insights. We then take those insights into a workshop, which is that little green dot. We call it a rumble, and we get lots of people from across the ecosystem to collectively try to solve some of the problems that we've discovered in our research. We then go on a process of more divergent thinking, so we go out and we make lots of different choices, lots of different ideas, lots of different concepts that are going to solve some of the problems, and these ideas might come from any part of the ecosystem. And then we start to converge on solutions. So we start to get to a prioritised roadmap of initiatives that we're actually going to deliver. And of course, we always prototype, we start small, and we scale it up once we know that it's robust.
So let's have a look at what that discover phase looked like for us with this particular project. So we started where all good UCD projects should start, by researching our customers and the spaces which we serve them in every day. So here you can see some of the examples of the research that we did, and the team took a really broad approach to understanding the retail context in particular. So we included our icon stores, such as Burke Street or George Street in Sydney. We included a number of high street stores, as well as those stores that are in shopping centre contexts. Now that mix is really interesting because the types of customer interactions that we have across those different types of stores varies, but also the physical space of those stores varies quite markedly as well. And we used a whole range of different techniques through that process as well, one-on-one interviews, doing ride-alongs, some group sessions, as well as observational research as well. And from that work, we developed a number of as-is experience journey maps. Now, importantly, this isn't a perfect customer experience. In fact, what we're trying to identify is where are the opportunities in that end-to-end process that we can use service design to help improve it. One of the interesting things here is we've gone through the process of mapping what's the emotional journey through step by step through that process. So where are the areas of confusion or the areas of excitement or expectation through that journey that we can look at step by step to try and see where the opportunities are for improvement. And our staff members are really front and centre of this whole process too. We really need to understand what are the different pieces of capability that we can do to enable a better outcome for them. So as Bronwyn mentioned, our employee experience is really important in delivering a customer experience outcome. So in this instance, again, we spent a lot of time with the teams understanding what did they need out of this process. And they told us really clearly that they wanted to be empowered to deliver a better experience, but equally they wanted to spend more time with customers and less time with the systems that they were having to use in the retail stores. So the team then developed a whole bunch of design artifacts based on all this research, and you can see here some of the examples. And this was pinned up on a common design wall in the office, which was a really important aspect for this project because not only was it a common and available wall for the design team and the project team, but it was also available for the wider set of stakeholders within Telstra to come and see the work that was happening, but also to hear the voice of the staff member throughout the whole design process. So you'll see here some design artifacts around personas for staff members. You'll see some quotes and some vox pops from the staff members, as well as any opportunities that we've highlighted through the research process.
So we mapped the emotional journeys for the employees as well. And one of the things that we noticed when we went in and watched this happening and playing out in a retail environment is that the staff were having to use a system to do a particular interaction, like sell someone a new contract on their mobile phone. But they had many different systems that they had to use to complete that transaction. And some of the systems looked like they'd been designed in the 90s because they had been designed in the 90s. And quite often, the retail staff member spun the monitor around to show the customer. So these internal-facing tools were now becoming customer-facing tools that represented the Telstra brand. So we took those kind of insights and many others into a workshop, a rumble. So you can see Chris, the back of Chris's head's here. Chris and about 30 or 40 other staff members from across the Telstra ecosystem, frontline staff, sometimes we get customers in to do this as well, people from different parts of the business. We got them all in and we shared back that research so that they could get some empathy for the people that are in that in this particular service. And we used the rich insights to innovate, to come up with new ideas to solve those problems. We looked at trends, we looked at new technologies and enablers, and we looked at the pain points, and we used that to come up with hundreds of ideas. And then we started the process of designing. So one of the critical parts about service design is a part of design called business design. Because what we're trying to do is evaluate all of those different ideas to ensure that they hit the right business impact. So we have metrics, whether that's driving revenue or reducing cost or improving NPS, and we start to evaluate the different ideas and the return on investment that we expect to see. And out of that process, we get a number of different service initiatives that we start to roadmap. But then the particular one that we decided to go for with this particular project was called the Customer Advisor Tool. So a HTML layer that sits on top of all those disparate, multiple old systems that enables the retail staff member to complete priority interactions in a really short amount of time.
And because the world needs more acronyms, we decided to shorten the Customer Advisor Tool down to CAT. Then the team headed into the design process, and it was a particularly challenging one because each of the different staff groups within the different channels had different requirements in terms of the information they needed out of that dashboard. And so therefore, CAT needed to be consistent, but not the same. It needed to be different by user group. We also needed to be able to prioritise the information that the staff members needed out of the wealth of information that they had across the systems. And so you'll see here a photo of the team going through a stack ranking exercise, team by team, to understand, well, what was the priority information that was needed out of the interface. Also, the design needed to be quite flexible across a wide range of devices as well. Not everyone at Telstra works on a desktop computer. In fact, the staff in the retail teams actually largely use tablets. So the design of this dashboard then needed to be quite flexible and responsive across a wide range of device types. And then finally, we needed to try and group that information together. So again, to try and tackle all those design challenges, you'll see a lot of co-design sessions being had with some of the staff members there to really refine the design and also understand, well, what were the right groupings of the content for these sort of types of widgets that you see there on screen. First and foremost as well, the outcome needed to be usable. So we spent a lot of time doing usability testing with the staff as well to understand what were the pain points and what were the assumptions in the design process that we needed to iron out. So this is an example again of the design wall that shows where the teams actually mapped out the entire interaction for the dashboard end to end, and we've gone through and identified all the different issues and tried to iterate those designs throughout the process.
So this process, we worked with retail staff to design the tools that they wanted to do. So it's by staff, for staff. But part of the socialisation process, Telstra asked us to create this little video that was sent out to all the retail staff. And we thought we might show it to you because it's a nice little summary of the project.
Cool.
As the role of retail changes, we need to become more mobile and agile in the way we serve our customers.
We know our people have to battle some fairly clunky systems and processes to get a really good picture of the customer that they're speaking to.
Some of the older systems, especially for someone new like myself, could take up to 5 or 6 minutes just to be able to open up the system.
The problem we're solving there is bringing all that information together and really making that interaction easier for our people and more seamless for our customer as well.
We did quite a bit of co-design with our retail and contact centre. We shadowed 70 agents, listened to over 1,000 calls. And we did some initial prototyping, and then we sat down with the agents and worked through what information they wanted and what they liked. And it started to evolve very organically. That evolved into this idea with the Customer Advisor Tool.
The real purpose, I suppose, of the Customer Advisor Tool is to allow our people to have the right conversation at the right time with the customer and with the right context of that customer when they're in front of them, either on the phone or in a store.
CAT will allow the agents to really maximise their time with their customer and be a lot more efficient.
The Customer Advisor tool makes it super simple to find out everything that you need about that customer in just a few clicks. Not only save time, but we'll make sure we get it right more often for our customers.
It's a game changer. They haven't actually had an application like this that enables everything to be seen really easily on one screen.
CAT has an account overview, which is fantastic. One screenshot of all the service holdings that the customer has.
The quick links on the side of the CAT toolbar have been, again, a godsend.
One of the things that's changed since we've introduced CAT is that I'm no longer scared to let the customer know what's going on the screen.
The Customer Advisor tool has been designed to not require any training. We should be able to look up customers' information and help them out first time without needing to understand the system.
I'm fairly new to Telstra myself. I'm trying to learn all the current systems that they have, but CAT has just completely outshone them in terms of ease of access and efficiency.
The Customer Advisor tool is going to keep on evolving. So we've started off with a base and we're going to keep on building on that, keep on evolving it.
All of the functionality that we add into the Customer Advisor tool going forward will be made with our consultants, for our consultants, with the customer at the centre of the conversation.
So we launched CAT in December, and since that time we've now got more than 5,000 of our agents using CAT on a daily basis. But more importantly, we've had more than 2,000 customer check-ins completed since the middle of December using CAT as the basis of that human conversation, which is fantastic.
And CAT is just one of the service initiatives of many that we came up with through this project, and there are lots of different service products and initiatives that are in development alongside that to help to reimagine that service experience. So some key takeaways: understand the user in their context. There's nothing that beats going out and doing primary research yourself and feeling the emotional impact that you get from talking to someone about their frustrations or seeing their excitement. You know, and really that gives you the passion to go and solve those problems and really get involved into the project. Embrace ambiguity. There's no point going in as an expert with the solution. You have to put solutioning off, and you have to go in with a really open mind and see what you discover. And that's where the innovation comes, when you put that off and you take lots of disparate pieces of information, lots of different people getting together who have different perspectives on the business challenges. That's when things really start to spark. Collaborate and co-design. It really helps with the change management and the buy-in. Get as many people involved in the process, and particularly your end user. And of course, embrace failure. Prototype early and often, and iterate, iterate, iterate.
So that's been one example of a service design project that we've done in a fairly complex space, but hopefully there's a few takeouts there that you could apply to your particular organisations. So thanks for your time today.
Thank you.